Hey, what's up guys? It is Slick here back again with another video, and this one could be somewhat controversial, so if you are averse to different opinions, I would recommend listening or watching with caution. So let me get into my thoughts here, and let me just put it all out on the table, and then I'll go into more depth. So my impression at this point is something that I've shared with some people online. I think that some people perhaps are in denial because they stand the game so heavily. But I think that the story for Spider-Man PS4 does appear to be a little bit generic, perhaps more so than I was expecting. It's been a while since I played an Insomniac game, so I'm not accustomed to what their stories particularly are, in terms of, what kind of stories do they tell. I played the Ratchet & Clank games some time ago, and I did not play Sunset Overdrive. My understanding is it wasn't a very compelling story. It was more of like an open world kind of game. I could be wrong, though. I didn't play it, like I said. My impression of Spider-Man PS4 is that the gameplay looks phenomenal. The web slinging looks phenomenal. The world building and the open world looks great as well. They clearly have invested a great deal of time into doing this, into building those things, whether it be the gameplay, whether it be the fight mechanics, whether it be the open world. I also am noticing that the story doesn't really interest me or grab me. And I do not mean to compare to the Arkham games, but I think it will best illustrate my point. And the thing about this is, we can't know for sure until the game comes out, but I'm just talking in regards to my excitement for the story. And let's go back to 2015, leading up to the release of Batman Arkham Knight in June of 2015. The main reason I was so excited for this game was not the gameplay. It was, to some degree, the open world, and to some degree, the Batmobile mechanics. So that was really exciting, because we were going to get the Batmobile for the very first time. My main excitement of the game was the story. And not only the story, but also this sort of elusive character of the Arkham Knight, and figuring out who this was. Leading up to the game, there was all kinds of speculation and theories as to who this character was, where did they come from, and what were their intentions. And, also we have these other relationships with the Bat family, whether it be Robin, Nightwing, and Batgirl. It was clear that there was some sort of frayed relationship or distant relationship, perhaps, between, Jim Gordon and sort of the relationship between that, because he obviously doesn't know that Barbara's working for him. So there's kind of this dramatic story here. You have this secretive character. You're trying to figure out who it is. You have this triangular story with Bruce Wayne, or Batman, Jim Gordon, and Barbara Gordon, and the fact that they all don't know things about the other. Namely, Jim Gordon does know that Barbara Gordon is working for Batman, and how is this going to unfold? This was all presented in the trailers as well. And then you have Scarecrow and his plan. We didn't really know what his plan was. Again, not the most convincing things, because we know Scarecrow is evil and he's going to have an evil plan. The most convincing parts were those character dynamics and the Arkham Knight. And as much as people want to say in retrospect, like, oh, I knew it was Jason Todd, I think that everybody had their doubts and their crazy conspiracy theories that it was Frank Bowles or Penelope Young from Arkham Asylum, or Hugo Strange had come back, or Ra's al Ghul had come back, or, whatever. And of course I was among that. Everybody was saying Jason Todd, and spoiler alert, they were correct. But everybody had those doubts. And until the mask truly came off, before the flashback scenes in Panessa Studios, I think we all recognized it could have been anybody. They could have been misleading us. They were not, but anyway. So my point is, those were the things that really made me excited and really wanted me to go to the midnight launch of that game on the 22nd of June and pick up the game and play the story all night, chug Gamma, and just play as much of the game as possible. I did crash at 5 a.m., but I finished it the next morning. So, with that being said, I'm just going to say that the story for Spider-Man PS4 is not really grabbing me at this moment. There's not that thing that is really making me drawn to the story. What I'm seeing is Spider-Man villains doing villainy things, and Spider-Man has to stop them to save the city. Now, this is a perfectly acceptable superhero story, but my thought on this really is that I've read so many comic books and seen so many comic book movies that a plot like this, a just sort of typical plot of a villain doing something bad, and they have the hero has to save the city is a little bit too generic. I would like to see some surprises, some plot twists, some unique changes to the lore. Now, you may say, well, what do you have in mind? Well, I'm not really a writer. I don't know. All I know is that when I see them, you can recognize them. When you see these things, like for instance, a new character with a secret hidden identity that leaves you wondering who that character is. That could be one thing. It could be some, character drama on the back end between the allies of the hero, which was present in Arkham Knight as well. It could be something to that effect. It could be a change in how a character functions. For instance, Norman Osborn as mayor, introducing Peter Parker perhaps as a political figure competing against him, maybe, let's say. Or something to that effect. Some new aspect that really gets me excited. Introduce a political aspect to the story. It doesn't seem that they're going that way, though. It seems that Norman Osborn is the mayor. He's evil. He's doing evil things. And the Sinister Six, they're evil and doing evil things. The story, it seems interesting enough. It seems that the boss fights are going to be good. I hope that the gameplay is going to be great and the free roam will be great. I just need that thing in the story that's really going to grab me and really get me excited to play it. And if it is very much so a generic save the city story, and we go from boss fight to boss fight, beating up the members of the Sinister Six, I'm afraid that I'm not really going to be enamored by the story. Granted, I wasn't by Arkham Knight either, but at least I was excited for it. This story, it's not that I'm not excited for it. I am looking forward to it a great deal. And I'm going to play through it all, probably in one night. I'll probably skip school for it to come out. Actually, it comes out on Friday, and I just realized I don't have class on Friday this upcoming fall. So I'm excited about that. But anyway, you get the point. I just need that thing that really is grabbing me. That's like, that is incredibly interesting. That is fascinating. And I cannot wait to play through that. I wonder what's going to happen there. And quite frankly, I don't know that... Okay, so let me backtrack here. Part of it, too, is the power of retrospect. So I can look back on Arkham City and be like, wow, they killed the Joker. That's insane. That's what I really want to see, is those bold moves. And frankly, we don't know if they're going to do something like that. We don't know if they're going to kill Norman Osborn at the end of the game. If they do, that's what I would like to see. Something really bold, really forward, and something unpredictable. The Arkham games are the best superhero video games ever made, in my personal opinion. I know a lot of people listening are going to disagree and mention Spider-Man 2 and Web of Shadows and stuff, and I totally get it. That's just my personal opinion. Looking at the stories of the game are absolutely incredible. It really brings you into that world, and they're just remarkable in my personal opinion. Once again, I totally understand if you don't see it that way. But the thing is, you have to recognize the cinematic nature of those games. I mean, they were written by Paul Dini, the first two. And the third one also was filled with surprises and things to really get you excited for the game. Because games are really built off hype. Once the game comes out, it's hot for a few months, but then eventually it goes downhill. It's really in this period, the months leading up to the game, that is really where things are electric on YouTube. People are excited for the game, GameStop, everything like that. And I'm excited for the game. I mean, the Spidey Squad, they're doing a great job getting everybody excited. But I don't know if I'm really super excited for the story. I'm excited to get the game and swing around and beat people up and that kind of thing. The story to me, though, it just hasn't grabbed me yet. I'm waiting for it to happen. I'm waiting for that trailer to come out, and I was really hopeful that it would happen after they released the Comic-Con trailer, or the whatever. Maybe it was a few weeks ago. I think it was. Anyway, the recent trailer that they dropped. And I was really hoping that it was just going to grab me, and it was going to be like, wow, I cannot believe they're doing that with the story. I cannot believe that this is what the villains want to accomplish, or this is what Peter Parker has to do, or this aspect of his life is being highlighted. And frankly, I didn't see that. I saw Norman Osborn is the mayor, which we knew from the very first trailer we saw, where it said Norman Osborn, mayor for re-election. And the Sinister Six are trying to beat up Spider-Man and do bad things and, terrorize the city, and Spider-Man has to stop them. In other words, every Spider-Man comic since the 60s, with a little bit less layers and I'm just waiting for that thing to grab me. I hope that they can give it to me, and I hope that the story really is drawn out and rich. Now, the story was constructed by Dan Slott to some degree. Dan Slott is a phenomenal writer. He wrote, Renew Your Vows, which is one of my favorite Spider-Man runs of all time, which includes Mary Jane Watson, and Mary Jane is going to be in the game. Even just that thing, like Renew Your Vow vibes, and to have, kids in the mix, which they do in Renew Your Vows. To have their daughter, Spider-Girl, and stuff like that. And to go that route, which they've not done. So we'll just have to wait and see. I'm not saying that the story is not going to be good. I'm just saying that I'm not really super excited to play through it at the moment. And I'm waiting for that thing to get me really excited for it. But if not, we'll be playing it on September 7th anyway, of course. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Give me your thoughts in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on Spider-Man PS4's story? Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. My name is Slickmoff. I'll see you guys in the next one.